Good morning.
Good
Good
morning.
morning.
Today we have Sarah Martinez, who is a certified wellness and balance coach and yoga instructor. Welcome to the show, Sarah. We're so excited to have you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, Sarah and I actually met at the Jay Shetty Coaching Certification School. She is a certified coach through there and had a couple sessions with her and thought she was just phenomenal. Really started following her on social media and following some of the things that she's doing and was just really intrigued about her story and couldn't wait to get her on the show. So, with all further ado, we'd love to just learn a little bit more about you, Sarah.
Of course. So, as you mentioned, I'm a certified life and success coach from the Jay Shetty Certification School, and I specialize in wellness and balance. And I am also a yoga instructor, and my mission is to empower women to thrive in both their personal lives and professional lives. I have over 15 years of experience previously in corporate settings. And as a now business owner, I've witnessed firsthand the toll that stress and imbalance can take in on women's life and on their personal life or even work life. So through my coaching, I try helping them and guiding them to find that harmony and work-life balance.
Amazing. Yeah, and you have such an interesting journey. We talked a little bit about this, but would love for the audience to learn a little bit more about your transitions because you have actually experienced a lot of transitions leading into the Jay Shetty Coaching Certification School, and even recently, as a mother moving from one area to the next, you moved from Montreal to Vancouver. So I'd love to just talk about some of those transitions. Tell us a little bit about your corporate journey and then transitioning out of that. What was that like for you?
Yes, for sure. So for over 15 years, I was a manager, a director of operations in the tourism industry. So very far from coaching. And actually, tourism was my passion, but coaching is my purpose.
Mm.
And so I led many teams. I was organizing trips, scheduling, planning, and doing anything that was related to a trip, negotiating contracts as well. And well, how did I end up in coaching? First of all, I was coached previously, so I had a coach myself, and I remember before I was coach, I didn't even know I was coaching. I I remember I didn't know that like the difference between a coach and a therapist. So when I met my coach, that was the first question that I asked her, and she explained it to me very well. So and I was intrigued. So and I had like a taste of her coaching through a retreat. So after that, I started very like work on myself and go deeper into the personal development side of things. And this thing happened at work to me, where I was promoted to this dream position job where I was supposed to relocate to California, actually. And that was my dream. I always dreamed since I was a little girl to go live on the West Coast and especially California because I love the sun. And yeah, everything was fine. I loved my job. I was, but an unfortunate situation happened. The visa was taking too long, so that department had to like resend their offer. So it really like put me in a very like bad position personally. I felt very bad. We had everything set up. We found a house. I found a daycare. Like we were ready to just leave, and we're just like waiting for that to put our house on the market. But then we had to start over, even though we put our mindset that we were living. So it was difficult. And I think after that, first of all, I consulted my coach to help me like deal with this situation, to be honest. And then I just decided not to give up. And I started reading more about personal development, personal growth, teaching myself methods and techniques to just handle better the situation, because I was happy with my life. But then when you're handed like your dream, it's like you almost had it. And then I felt empty and like unhappy. And I didn't want to feel like that. And especially when you have a kid, you don't want, like to be like frustrated or like just showing them, how resilience can be, just to teach them also how to be resilient and their, future adult life. So after that, I just start very looking into coaching. I just had that. I remember I was on this road trip in, I think it was Jackson, Montana, and I was listening to this audiobook from Gabrielle Bernstein, and I don't know why, like I just had this calling of wanting to help people. I felt it, and I just decided to kind of like open like the platform to just share some like positive content. And I was like, I don't know where it's going to lead, but I know that I want to share what I've learned and how coaching impacted my life. And this is how it all started. So I felt that I would just look into coaching a bit without necessarily like getting certified at first. And since I had a full-time job. So I thought that I would do that on the side at first. And then maybe by the time that I'll be 40, I will just launch my business. But the universe had other plans for me.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. And like I said, your journey is just so intriguing to me, because I know that I've worked in HR and have hired people essentially all over the world that required visas. And, just that waiting game to get your visa approved, or, sadly, like during all of these layoffs that happened, over the past year, people that were on visas like had to scramble to get into a job, to stay in the country. And I just couldn't imagine, what that feels like, on top of already having the anxiety of just being able to get another job and pay your bills, So I really, really appreciate you sharing that. And I love that you just kept persisting and really was an example for your daughter to see, as well. So thank you so much for sharing that.
Of course.
Sarah, I know you shared a little bit about what you went through in transitioning into your journey of being a coach. But can you explain a little bit more about what you went through during some of those maybe darker times emotionally, mentally, and then how it kind of led you to your journey of personal development and coaching?
Yes, of course. So obviously, like when I learned the news, I was devastated because, I didn't expect it to to be like removed from me. So obviously I cried. So like the first night, I remember it was like, I think one of the worst nights of my life. And I think I felt also shame. I felt shame right after. I felt failure because, I didn't tell a lot of my friends about that because I was just waiting to make sure that it was going to happen, and then just announcing them the good news that we were moving. So the fact that I didn't tell anyone felt even worse, because when it happened, I kind of like removed myself from a lot of people, because I didn't know what I was going to say. I didn't want to be that girl that, well, her dream, like, fell to her dream, like the girl that almost went to California. So I had this thing in my head that, I just didn't want people to judge me. When I was actually just judging myself, because every time I was, I almost got there, like you almost, so you didn't do it, you almost got it. And that difference was just like too much for me. So that's when I didn't want to stay like that. I needed to have to take back control of my life and to feel better, because everything just was tasting different after that. And plus I had to like go back to work the next day and just do like nothing happened, because it was supposed to be an eternal move. So I had to take care of myself, and which I did. I started, actually, this is when I started going deeper into yoga practices, where I met my mentor in the yoga studio where I ended up working in. And this is when I started like reading more about manifestation and how to handle difficult situation. And the more I read, the more I wanted to learn more, and I was feeling better. So it really like helped me to this difficult time. I truly believe that like therapy and coaching like can change your life, and each of them can be either at the same time or like in different like phase of your life. And at that time, I didn't need like a therapist. I needed a coach. Mm-hmm. And that's what I had. And that was pretty much how I handled it.
Wow, Sarah, thank you for diving deeper and sharing that. So many people will be able to relate. And pain, I always say pain is the motivator of change. And it just sounds like you reached that place of such pain that you were open and ready and willing to go in a different direction. And I heard you when you said failure, and so many people, so many clients that I work with will talk about their fear of failure. And then when we dive a little deeper into it, really their fear is failure in the eyes of others, that judgment from other people. And us, while we're on our journey, that big piece in detaching from others and what they think of us, right? Because when I talk to clients, they'll say, if nobody was watching, I wouldn't care if I failed. I'd just get back up and go again. But that fear of disappointing others is so big. Thank you so much for sharing that. I want to ask you why you picked the Jay Shetty program.
Yes, of course. So it's funny because, I'm a planner. So I interviewed like 5 or 6 different schools. And I'm a huge fan of Gabrielle Bernstein, and I like Jay Shetty as well. And I remember the first thing when I decided to get my certification was just to look up Gabrielle Bernstein. I was like, if she has a school, like I'll sign up right away. And then I don't know, I saw that actually Jay had his school. And after talking to several schools, I felt that attraction to his school. I don't know, I can explain like how, but on top of the fact that the program was very complete, you had the certification in like 6 months, and there was everything that I was looking for. And the other school were also good, but you had to do it in a year. And I had like kind of put a timer and a deadline for myself. I wanted to complete this in 6 months and then decide if I was going to just go back to a corporate job or launch my business. So it was perfect. And I remember, I think I spoke with them first week of November and I signed up like the week after. And I'm so happy and thrilled that I did that choice because that was the best choice of my life.
Amazing. I felt the same way. Like it is a decision that I am so grateful that the timing all worked out for me. And I too, like you, Sarah, I'm a planner, was on kind of a bit of a time clock. So Jay's program is just it's incredible. So I had a question, two parts here, but how did you choose your coaching niche and who do you serve?
Yes. So my how did I choose my coaching niche? Well, it was something that I was passionate about. Work-life balance. It was something that I kind of like mastered myself throughout the year of being a manager. And, I was that person that worked from like 8 a.m. to like 8 p.m. or like 10 p.m. and loved my job and couldn't like stop working even during weekends. And I thought I was happy, but sometimes it was just too hard. And so I became the queen of like work-life balance because I could easily say that my last year in a corporate setting, I was doing an amazing job and I had a personal life. Like I enjoyed my personal life. I had activities, I had time for my family. Obviously some days were like more and I had to like work after hours, but like it happens, it just like you just have to balance it out at some point. And that was one of the first reason I choose like balance coaching first. And the wellness was because I did a yoga certification and I integrate movement, breathing technique, meditation, stress management, tools and like sleep recovery techniques into my coaching. So I have more like a holistic approach. So that's how it became wellness and balance coaching. And who do I serve? Well, I serve women. I decided to only serve women. It's a personal choice. I want to empower women, and also as a mom of a daughter, I just want to give her the right example. And I truly believe that if women can change the world, giving the right tools, and I just want to make sure that they're equipped for that.
Love that. Thank you so much, Sarah.
Yeah, thank you, Sarah. I love that. I mean, I'm a mother of 3 daughters, so I so appreciate just any opportunity to empower women. It's amazing. Before I go into my next question, you mentioned that you're really into Gabby Bernstein, and I am too. The Universe Has Your Back was one of my favorite books, and maybe later on we can talk a little bit about manifestation, just for our viewers who aren't as familiar with it. I think it's incredible. I wanted to tell you, you have Gabby Bernstein vibes. So,
thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh my God.
Totally. You talked a little bit about doing yoga at this certification during the same time as the Jay Shetty certification, but I want to hear a little bit more about why you chose to do them at the same time and how doing the yoga certification maybe helped benefit you in your personal or your coaching certification.
Of course. So, well, I always had that passion for yoga. And I always had that idea of like becoming a yoga teacher at some point. I just never found the time to do it. But in the last months before I left my job, I was traveling a lot. so pretty much every month. So it's difficult to have like a healthy routine. And I realized that I was trying to like get the healthy routine when I was traveling. And so I always try to like book a workout in each city where I was moving, traveling to. And I ended up always booking yoga. So, and I just kind of like discovered this studio near my house in Montreal that was just life changing, and where like the teacher just like, yeah, I think that was the first time that I actually made it in my whole life. It was during one of her class, and it just kind of like helped me. I was a very nervous person, very stressed, and I liked that. But it was kind of like driving me, you know, in work. But yoga always helped me calm my nerves, and just breathe. So the more I got deeper into yoga, the more I just like loved it even more, and I discovered like the virtue of it and its principles. And one, I remember like one day, one of my like friend just asked me, what would be your blue sky? And I closed my eyes, and the first thing I thought of was, well, if it was just me, I would be a yoga teacher and a coach. And this is how it all started. And I decided to do it at the same time. It was really fate, to be honest, because, well, after there was this wave of laid off, and I got also laid off in my company. I was not necessarily in a great place, and I just decided to go and do this yoga class. And that class just like did something inside of me. Like I felt lighter, I felt better. And that was the first time in my whole life that I didn't feel that I should just get back on the horse and like trying to find a job. I felt that I needed something more. And that teacher had actually a yoga school. So I just looked her up, and I was like, oh, I remember she has a yoga school, and I just wanted to look her up. And they had this session starting 2 days after. And I was like, or like the next day. And I was like, well, I talked to my husband, and he was like, okay, like if you want to do it, just do it. So I just applied, and I'm like, I'm never gonna get it because it's literally starting tomorrow. So I like applied, and the next day at 9 a.m. she called me, and she told me that I was accepted. So, and I literally started like the next day.
Oh, I love that. Amazing. I love yoga. I've been practicing yoga, gosh, since I think I got introduced when I was 16 years old, and then I'm over 40 now, just to give you an idea. And it is just it's a game changer. And for me, I was a former athlete, same with Alli, and I love that I learned how to breathe. Those early breathing techniques are just, I mean, it really helped me. Like when I was stressed, it helped me even when I was running, it allowed me to run faster, you know, like really understanding my breath. But I have to say, in yoga, my favorite pose was child pose, and I will still get into that pose today. What is your favorite position?
Well, for me, it's the fish pose actually, with the bolster, because it opens your throat, so your throat chakra, and also your neck, and it relieves any tension in your shoulders as well. And I have a back problem, so like it's just the perfect position for myself. Plus all of the benefits that it gives. So I can stay there for like, I don't know how many minutes. But yes, that's my favorite pose.
Oh, so good. Yeah, I love that one too. Are you incorporating yoga like with your clients right now? Like, are you encouraging that? Like, do you use some of the breathing techniques?
Yes, yes. Most of it, like pretty much all of my sessions, like start or finish with like a breathing techniques. I also incorporate some meditation or like visualization, sorry, in my coaching, some movement sometimes as well. I want to integrate more yoga into my coaching, but not there yet. But yeah.
Yeah, no, wonderful. What are some of the kind of challenges that you're seeing, or even limiting beliefs that you've observed in your clients? And how are you kind of helping them overcome those challenges and obstacles? Like, besides kind of implementing some of your yoga techniques, what are some other tools and strategies you use?
Yeah, so one of well, my clients, most of the time when they come to me, they either feel like out of balance in their life, they like live for their vacation, they don't feel aligned, they feel burned out, they feel stressed, they have like lost confidence, and are always afraid of being judged. Um, and they don't know how to say no to their circle. So, and one thing that they're looking for is like to take control of their lives and fears, and grow and become that like better version of their self, or just like gain that inner peace where they can, sleep better and like feel happier, like just find these moments of joy in their life that they're just lost, they just lost, or so one of the things that I do is just being curious, um asking the question they doesn't dare to ask themselves. I challenge them. I like that, and they like it too. I integrate like mindfulness practices, self-care ritual, emotional healings, and yeah, other tools. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I heard you earlier when you said that you had been kind of debating if, and this may be just my wording, but on if you wanted to be if you needed, sorry, a coach or a therapist. What made you make the decision that you needed a coach versus a therapist? And what's your idea of the difference between the two?
So I had a therapist previously, and I think it was just not the right time for me because I didn't like the experience. And at that time, I actually needed a coach. And then I found it. And after I was coach, and then I was certified as a coach, and I was working on myself, and I had all the tools. I knew that now I was ready to get a therapist back. So that's when I got my therapist. And for me, the difference would be that the therapist will look deeper into the past, into any traumas that you may have, and help you and handle it. When with a coach, we will be like looking, yes, like we're interested in the past, but we're not gonna like spend too much time on it. We're just gonna try to look forward and see how we can move from that. So that's why I think that both can work together. And like a lot of my clients actually see a therapist and see me at the same time, and it's working perfectly. And I really think it really depends on the phase you are in your life. Yeah, and as I mentioned previously, like when I started therapy, at first I was not ready, and then this year I was, and it really helped me. So yeah.
I love your holistic approach, and it really demonstrates how there is not just a one thing to help us, that we, with your yoga, your coaching, going to therapy, that we can do such a range of things and have kind of our treatment team or our support system. And it's just such a good modeling for people that say, oh, I'm doing this, but I'm not quite there. I don't know that any one thing. I think it's a lot of different approaches that can work together to help us with our wellness. Thank you.
That's so good you say that, Alli. Actually, I wanted to just jump in. Like,
Sure.
it's the reason why when I started like thinking about podcasts and like developing Sunday SoulDay, like I really wanted to bring Alli on, because it gives the viewers like a different perspective. And Alli and I are a huge proponent of both of using a coach and a therapist. And so I just love that you kind of walked us through your experience. And sometimes you're not ready for therapy, and sometimes you're not ready for coaching. Like I've had a client who came to me and definitely was in a trauma state where I believe that she needed to heal her inner child, and she also agreed to that. And we decided to reconvene at a later time after she, spent some time in therapy. And so, I love that you, like Alli said, take a holistic approach to your wellness.
Yeah. And when you brought up mindfulness, like there is some overlap, right? And so the things maybe you've learned in therapy, you can apply it in coaching and vice versa. The mindfulness, the deep breathing, the relaxation. I think that's incredible. I want to shift gears really quickly. As a mom to a 4-year-old, I'm also a mom to a 4-year-old, and I know we kind of touched on that a little bit. And a new business owner. Can you share your experience as an entrepreneur in the coaching industry and what it has been like building your own coaching business?
Yes, of course. So, well, to be honest, like it depends on the week, but like there's highs and lows for sure. Some weeks are harder than others, but seeing, the results that my clients are getting and how it impacts their life. And every time that I'm like getting out of the session, it just motivates me to keep going. But, I would say that I'm very fortunate to have a husband that is very supportive. I'm not gonna lie, because even when I was traveling a lot with my job, he was, taking care of everything when I was gone, and he still does. So like when I have these days that I need to work on things, and he knows that it's difficult to launch a business, he's there, for both of us. So I would say that, yeah, it really helped me. So like when I think of that, seriously, like I props to like all the single mom, because it's difficult. Like it's really difficult to like raise a child and like create your business. So or just be like a working mom and have kids. Well, congrats, like you're doing an amazing job, like praise to you. And I was raised by a single mom, so and every time that I think of that, I'm like, she was a superhero, like and you are too, Damesha. So
Thank you.
Yeah.
So much.
Shout out to Damesha, single mom. Yeah. So, Sarah, I so can relate, and I apologize if I jumped in while you were still speaking. Just before I got on, my daughter was leaving with my husband, and she was like, "Mom, I'm gonna miss you. Give me a kiss and a hug." And it's just the mom guilt there, and it's kind of that old saying: we have to, as moms, we work. And we have to pretend we don't have kids while we're working. And then when we have our children, we have to pretend we don't work. And we're just pulled in so many directions. And you are absolutely right. Kudos to all of us.
Yes.
It is not easy, but we are being great examples for to our children and to other people out there who are motivated to do to run their own businesses, and that it can be done. So thank you. I wanted to continue on. Did you have something else you wanted to say, Sarah? I think I kind of jumped in.
No, I'm good, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, and I know you touched a little bit on this, but I want to hear more about some of the initial challenges that you faced in starting your coaching business, and what types of things you did to overcome some of those challenges.
Yes. So one of like the challenges obviously is like, when you go from working for someone to like just working for yourself. And I've always been someone very invested in any company where I worked in. So I had that motivation. But now I had to find it for myself. So, and I had it in me, but it's just sometimes, you have to be organized to like just plan your day and just not, start doing something and like just start another thing and just never finish your project. So I think that for me, what was the most difficult at first was the fact that I launched two kind of businesses at the same time, because I was starting teaching yoga, so which was like something on the side, and then also like starting my coaching business at the same time. So I had to juggle while creating my yoga classes and then still like working on my coaching business. So well, I don't recommend like doing two things at the same time, but I did it because well, I love a challenge, but that was one of the things that was very difficult. And and one thing to add to that was my moves, because I was also moving at the same time. So but I would say that staying organized might be a challenge, and also just feeling like the motivation for you to do things yourself, especially when you learn to like build your business. You just like, you have to do everything yourself at first, unless you have, a lot of money to invest. And I felt overwhelmed with all the things that needed to be done and things that usually I dislike. And, when you're in a job, you're like, when there's things you don't like, you just like trying to like ask a coworker to do it, or your boss, or, to change kind of your role, or you just don't apply to that role with these things that you dislike. So I think it was like the fact that I had to do everything myself was very overwhelming and challenging. But as soon as I was doing it, I just felt good, because I learned so many things. And also, plus, I had like an amazing support from the Jay Shetty community, my peers, so like everything, like every time that I needed something, or like I had a question, or I could reach out to one of them. Another challenge was to sell myself. It was like I had this limiting belief of like, I don't know, like not be able to sell myself. And so it was difficult, I just learned to like how to like advertise and sell myself, because I used to like, I did sales previously, but it was never selling me. It was selling my company, other things, that they had so many things to offer. And it was difficult for me to see all the things I had to offer. So I had to go, yeah, through that to be able to like be fully myself and more comfortable in my business.
Yeah, I share the same thing with you, Sarah. Like, first, shout out to the Jay Shetty coaching community and all of the coaches in cohort 2, as well as the other cohorts, but especially our cohort.
Yeah.
They are just so supportive and willing to jump in, answer questions. But you mentioned something about well, two things. You mentioned a lot of things, but the two things I wanted to touch on is being able to sell yourself as a coach. Like, I've worked, in corporate as well, and in tech, and it's so easy for me to sell the company, to other people. Like, I hired people, got them excited about coming into the organization, but then turning the tables and building businesses from scratch, and then putting yourself out there, and really like building your own personal brand, was really hard for me as well. But you had mentioned about just staying dedicated and motivated. And, we're not always motivated, but I always say to, clients, and just to myself even, like, it's so important to stay consistent, and to keep the consistency every single day. Like, even if you're only doing a little bit towards your business, a little bit is better than nothing. So.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And also like know how to, when to take breaks, just to recharge. Otherwise you just will feel overwhelmed. And obviously like imperfect action are better than inaction, but sometimes you also need to sit in and just do nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. I know I'm a big believer in taking breaks. I don't give my daughter timeouts, but I give myself timeouts to rest, recharge, get my head clear, and keep going, keep that consistency going. So, and then just can you tell me a little bit more about your marketing approach and the strategies that work for you, and maybe what hasn't worked for you?
Yes, well, my marketing approach, I'm like very at the beginning of it. So for now, like I'm trying to like only use one platform, and then I'll like extend to other platforms. So I decided to like put off my all of my content on Instagram, and then I'm actually building my website, which would be out soon. But one of the thing is content creation, but also reaching out to people, and the content creation that I'm trying to do is just I'm trying to be myself. I'm trying to like, share things that are very important to me. And I know that like the right person will be attracted to that. It might be like, I don't know, like I feel like a dreamer saying that, but it's the way I want to like conduct my business. It's very like, I want to be the right match for that client and also for me, for myself. The person I work with, they're very similar to like, well, what I was experiencing previously, and women that had have or had challenges that I know about, and some don't. But the fact that I had that experience kind of helped me help them as well. So I would say that this is pretty much my marketing strategy so far. And I'm also like creating like a free assessment for work-life balance. I'll be out soon as well, so people can get to have a piece of my work for free. And yeah.
Yeah, I think that's incredible. And you talked earlier about Gabby Bernstein and manifestation, and I think even with matching up with clients using that manifestation. I know I did when I opened my private practice. I just asked my higher power, who I call God, let me work with whoever I'm supposed to work with, and let me help heal whoever is ready to work with me. And so I think that that's an amazing approach, and using some of the manifestation techniques that you have gained, and as you mentioned with Gabby Bernstein. What are some of your aspirations and goals that you strive to achieve?
So, well, short term, like this year, I want to be able to transform the life of 50 women. That's like one of, yeah.
50?
50, yes.
Amazing. That's incredible. Sorry, keep going.
Yeah. And so this is like more like short term and like towards like my business. But then long term, I would love to like have my own podcast as well at some point. I just don't feel ready for it yet, but it's something that I want to do. And also after that, like public speaking would be like the next step.
Amazing. I am so excited to see all of these things happen, and I know that you will do it. I will say, even if you're not ready, because Alli and I weren't fully ready when we
are we ready yet? Are we even ready now?
Yeah, it's like we just do it anyway.
Just have to go for it. Start somewhere. And
yeah.
Damesha was amazing in encouraging me to just start somewhere, because I'm historically such a perfectionist. And I know Damesha and I had talked about it, and you just start somewhere, and we've already grown so much just from just doing it.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I learn from is I learn by doing, and I'm not afraid to fail, and I'm not afraid to make mistakes. And because I see it like this, like even if someone is judging me, like that says more about them than me, because at the end of the day, like a lot of people stay in the dream state and they dream about things that they want to do. They have amazing ideas, but they never go forth with them. So the fact that I went forth. Alli just jumped in and joined me on this journey, and we did it scared. We did it not knowing. It's I encourage you to keep going and keep doing, because we want to hear your message. You have an incredible message. You had mentioned, just some of the things that you like to do, from yoga to kind of, replenish yourself for wellness. But like, what are some other routines and rituals that you do to kind of fuel your soul?
Yes, of course. So I have my three M's.
Ooh.
So it's like meditation in the morning, movement, so like stretch or do like a micro yoga session, and matcha. This is my three things that I can't not have in the beginning of the day. Like when I don't meditate, I can feel it. Like I have less patience with my daughter. Like I'm frustrated more like throughout the day, and I don't like being like that. So sometimes I meditate once or even twice, like at the end of the day, or even throughout the day before meeting. So it's very important for me to start the day with the meditation, to stretch, and then have my matcha because I don't drink coffee. And also my gratitude journal.
Oh, love that. Love that. I am huge on gratitude. When Alli was interviewing me, I shared with the audience, just I start with gratitude my day, and I end it with gratitude. So I can wake up grateful and go to bed grateful. So I love that you do that. And I love anytime people are using like, 3 L's or 3 M's, or I love that because it's so easy for me to remember. So it's meditation, movement. And did you say matcha? I love that.
Yes,
I'm like, this is so
matcha,
great.
yeah, matcha latte, yeah.
Yeah, I am a coffee drinker, but I only drink 8 ounces a day, and I have to have it in the morning. So, but lots of water throughout the day. What about you, Alli? What are you?
I have an espresso machine, and I also have my husband loves to make coffee using the pour over. And so he does
Oh,
this whole thing that looks like a science experiment in the morning, and it's just like pure and delicious. And but I've got to try matcha. I've heard great things. So
okay. I'm
yeah,
definitely coming
let's try some
over.
matcha.
Ben needs to make me one of those drinks. I need to
Yes,
I need to try one of
yes,
those.
he's a jack of all trades.
I love it. Well, and this the final question is, where can people find you? We want to make sure that, we want to help you get those 50 clients that you are striving to get. So tell us, where can people find you?
Yes, of course. So people can find me mostly on Instagram so far, and on LinkedIn as well. So if people want to reach out, they can, contact me directly through either LinkedIn or Instagram.
Under your name or
Yes. Yes. So on LinkedIn, it's under my name. On Instagram, it's Balanced by Sarah.
okay, Balanced by Sarah. Okay, great.
Perfect. Well, we will be sure to include all of your information in your write-up. I'm so grateful that you blessed Sunday SoulDay, Sarah. You've been an amazing guest. You fueled our souls through this conversation, and we're just so grateful that we got a chance to learn more about you, and that our viewers get to learn more about you. And we wish you the best of luck as you're building your businesses.
Thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me. Like, it was very nice. It's actually my first podcast. So like, thank you for allowing me to share my story and for like holding that space for me. It was really great.
Thank you so much, Sarah, and happy Sunday, everyone. Make sure you take care of your soul.
Absolutely. And try Sarah's 3 M's.